Chris, how's everybody found the return to training in small groups? What are the sessions like at the moment?
Tough, as you would expect, Rob. Yeah, excited. The competitors, they want to do their bit. You know, they see everybody else doing their bit. There's been an enormous amount of work gone on through staff, medical staff, doctors, other people at the football club to provide a safe environment. An enormous amount of credit should go to those guys to get our football club back up and running and taking those small steps that everybody else is doing. Even the fellas next door to me that started building at 7:30 in the morning this morning. So we all want to go work. And my players, to a man, they've been led brilliantly by the skipper. Have all shown that same desire to get back to work. So possibly didn't enjoy the running aspect of it, of training yesterday when they were doing a 2,000 metre run. Didn't enjoy that bit, but they've worked hard to get into this position as professional footballers. They've certainly worked double hard to get into the Premier League in the position that they're in, and they, like everybody else, wants to get back playing and get back training and doing their bit.
Does it feel real now that essentially football is on the path to coming back?
Yeah, it does. I obviously watched the Bundesliga over the weekend, and you saw those figures that were put out. There's enormous enthusiasm in this in this country regarding our game, and I should imagine you ask anybody, the man in the street, anybody that loves and follows it, whether they're involved in it from a playing and coaching point of view, from an administration point of view, from a media point of view, and most importantly from a supporting point of view. We've all missed it, and I'm really looking forward to getting back and playing. It's going to be different. Obviously, looking at the Bundesliga over the weekend, it was a little bit eerie. The pace and the tempo of the games wasn't as possibly it would be in front of 40, 50,000 people, but I think it'll get better. It'll get quicker, and like every start to a season, because really it is. This is what we're doing. We're starting a mini season. You know, players will pick it up pretty quickly, and we're confident that our players at Sheffield United will do that.
What are some of the challenges of working under the protocols that everybody in the Premier League is having to work to?
Well, the challenges from our point of view is that we've not got the infrastructure and facilities of the majority of Premier League clubs. So, but we have to adapt and work it out. You know, myself as a football manager, right the way through my early coaching career, you have to adapt off the pitch just as much as on it, and different challenges that you have to overcome, and this has certainly been a huge challenge to everybody at the football club, and not just me, not just Al organising stuff, the doctors that have been involved in the process, and they've worked magnificently to get the football club up and running, because as we all know, it's the football club, and I think Steve Betty's touched on it in his media work early on in the week, is not just about what happens on a Saturday afternoon. It's what the football club's about, the 600 or 700 people that it employs, the effect it has on our great city, the effect it has on the supporters, and as I said, you know, everybody. Even the most ardent of Sheffield Wednesday fans that are sometimes delivering these boxes to my door, which has become more and more frequent over this lockdown period, are asking when you're back playing and when you're returning to training, and that has just been a consistent question from everybody I bump into. Chris, what's happening? What's happening? When the boys back training? When are we back playing? You know, and that is from the man in the street. It's from everybody that I'm in contact with, and I think that's a massive message on terms of where we're at, how much we've missed it, and obviously when it's safe to do so. But being in on a few of these calls, knowing the work that our football club's done, Rob, being involved with the Premier League experts, and I keep saying this, they're the experts. They won't lead us down a path of danger, and one that if they thought it was going to end up in a way that we all wouldn't want it to end up. And we're taking our lead off them when it's safe to do so. But we feel that everybody feels in the game this is the right time, and as I said, my players have shown an enormous enthusiasm to get back working and competing.
How often are the players and the staff being tested at the moment?
Yeah, twice a week. We went through the process on Friday. There's obviously Premier League protocol, confidentiality, and data protection on terms of talking about how the tests have gone, and I'll fall into line with that. Obviously there's been a couple of cases that have been detected over the weekend, over 750 tests on over the weekend, and a couple of staff. I know Ian Wone has been detected with it, and one player. So I think they're encouraging numbers from our point of view. I'm not surprised about the numbers because of how healthy the players are and what lengths they've gone to making sure that they do their bit and are responsible and disciplined in their approach to the awful virus that's affected the nation. So we're looking at twice a week, Rob. Our next test is on Friday, and we'll be tested twice a week, and that is up and beyond, above anything any other profession in the country. So I think that shows you what lengths the Premier League are prepared to go to get the football back up and running. And obviously the question that everybody's asked, has it got government backing? Yeah. Has it got NHS backing? Yeah. So from a morally and social point of view, everybody seems happy with the situation.
Troy Deeney has said that he won't return to train at Watford. Have any of your players expressed any similar concerns? And if a player did come to you and say, I have some reservations, how would you approach that? So
I know there's been talking about communication lines. It's a huge responsibility for myself and the staff to talk to the players, for me to talk to the skipper, and the skipper to pass those messages on, and being involved in the process, of course. They are human beings. They are opinionated. They've got their own points of view, as Troy has, as everybody has. They have an opportunity to speak to myself. I think I've got that open relationship with them. They have the opportunity of going through the skipper. Everybody's on the same page at Sheffield United. They all want to go back to work. I understand and respect any player's point of view, and they have that decision to make, and I'll respect that. I respect that as from a decision point of view, and I respect that from a financial point of view. People are talking about not paying wages if they don't play. That's the contracted footballers, and as I keep saying, morally from my point of view, the human beings, and if they make that decision, then I will fully respect that 100%. But nobody's been had a gun to their head. Nobody's been forced into anything they don't want to do. They've all made a decision individually, and as far as I'm concerned, that is the right one and the positive one to make from their point of view. And as I said, if Troy or anybody else has their own situations that are different to everybody else, I think it's only right that we respect that.
Have you got a view on when football could potentially return? I think June the 12th was the original target. Presumably that could be revised if needed. But you will have an idea of when your players would be ready if it was safe to return?
Tomorrow afternoon. They want to compete now. The competitors, Rob, they've got to. To be a professional footballer, you've got to do a lot of things right to have a career in the game, to get to the Premier League, to get in the position. They've not, as I've just done another interview, they've not taken themselves off anywhere else. They can't do anyway. They've not had the head stuck in a fridge. They've come back in magnificent shape. They've had a responsibility to their profession. To keep themselves in good nick. It's a different scenario. People keep talking about, the length of time. They've not been to wherever they go now, Dubai or Vegas or wherever they go, and in these beach clubs and beach parties or whatever, and drinking whatever they want and eating whatever they want. They've kept themselves in brilliant nick. They knew that season was paused, and that's what it was. It wasn't postponed. It wasn't finished. Before the Newcastle game, it was paused, and they've kept themselves in brilliant nick. We did testing yesterday. We're delighted with everybody's come through. Everybody's fit and healthy. I've got a viewpoint on it. Majority of players in the Premier League are internationals now. The Euro Championship finishes on July the 12th, I think, is right. I think quite a few of those players that are playing in the Premier League would like to be involved in the final, and the next season starts on the 8th of August. Where maths wise and dates wise, that isn't an awful lot of time. I do think the players are given enough time, but the date that was first set out to us as possibly a potential one, as far as I'm concerned, my players are ready to go. Will the tempo be as good or as quick as what it was when we left off? No. But is it at the start of season? No. And it always takes 1-2 games to get themselves into a rhythm. But when players are talking about going on international tours and playing in major tournaments and then coming back and having a couple of weeks rest and a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks pre-season, and they're back playing. They're back playing. They're playing 2 or 3 games, which will obviously be the case from our point of view. We'll have 2 or 3 games behind closed doors, games amongst ourselves. It isn't going to be the same, but as I've said before, and you've talked about it, we have to adapt and we have to compromise our situation because it's unprecedented times. But the bigger picture is for us to get back working like everybody else is doing. And if everybody else can do it, certainly we can do it. And as far as I'm concerned, my players are ready to go when asked to, kept themselves, as I keep saying, in brilliant condition. And the competitors, they want to go back to the contact aspects of it. The individual training is good, and it would be the same in a pre-season. But the way the players are now, the athletes, the distances they cover, the intensity that they run, they know as much as anybody that to keep themselves in peak physical condition is absolutely key to this. They've done that. They've shown an incredible amount of professionalism and discipline, and they're ready to go when the Premier League tell us it's ready to go. And I think that's my thing all along, Rob, is that I'm not an expert from the medical aspect of it. I'll have my views on it. My players aren't experts. They'll have the views on it, but we're guided. We have to have an opinion, and looking at my players are ready to go when that first date comes. If it's another week, it's another week, and we'll deal with that.
Finally, from me, have you had any confirmation from Manchester United that Dean Henderson will be able to finish the season with you?
No, we're all from a contractual point of view now. We're all looking to extend. The players that we've got at Sheffield United that are on loan. Panos and Mo Besic, Panos Retsos, Mo Besic, and 2 or 3 others that we've got on loan. We're looking to extend those contracts. There's obviously a couple of contracts that will expire. That we're looking to extend those contracts, and from Manchester United's point of view, we're coming into that time where they'll make decisions in terms of extending or not extending. I'm very confident that Manchester United will let Dean stay with us to the end of the season. I don't think it's worth asking what Dean wants to do because I think the answer. and vice versa. You know, if it was roles reversed, I wouldn't think it would be an issue. But I think I've got to respect that Deeney is Manchester United's player, and we have to respect whatever decision they make. But if he goes back, he can't play, and I'm sure that Dean wants to finish off an outstanding season that he's already had playing for Sheffield United.